Hello YouTube, Film Buff 06 here. Since we've just had Mother's Day yesterday, I thought it makes sense for me to do a review of the horror thriller film We Need to Talk About Kevin, which was made in 2011, was based on the Orange Prize winning bestseller that was written by Lionel Shriver. It stars Tilda Swinton, John C. Reilly and Ezra Miller, and it was co-written and directed by Scottish filmmaker Lynne Ramsay, who had previously made art house films like Morven Calla and Ratcatcher. Now, this was a project that took between 3 and 4 years to get made, ever since BBC Films acquired the rights to the book back in 2005. And Lynne Ramsay herself signed on to direct this film after an abrupt end to her involvement in the film adaptation of Alice Sebold's The Lovely Bones, which ended up being, of course, directed by the one and only Peter Jackson. Also this film was very, very successful with critics when it premiered at Cannes that year. The story of the film, which is told mostly out of order and especially in occasional flashbacks, almost the same narrative device that Citizen Kane and Godfather 2 sort of utilised. Anyway, the story is that this woman named Ava Cacciadorian, played by Tilda Swinton, is trying to piece together her life after her son Kevin, played by Ezra Miller, is in prison after he instigated a terrible massacre in his high school 2 years prior. And basically throughout the entire film, she reminisces on her relationship with Kevin as a mother in order to try and make sense of what made Kevin do what he did, whether or not she really was a bad mother to him, and whether or not Kevin was born evil. A bad seed from the very get-go, from the moment he was born. Now, what did I think of We Need to Talk About Kevin? Now I watched this film earlier today from using the BBC iPlayer, and although I haven't read the book, although watching this film would make me want to read it, just sounds interesting, but nonetheless, I think that this is a very good and very well-made film, and one that absolutely positively shocked, scared, and just disturbed me. I was especially disturbed by the many things that the many psychopathic things that Kevin was doing. His body language, his mannerisms, his way of thinking, his very, very cold eyes and emotionless face. And yeah, I'll get into more on that in a moment. The screenplay by Lynne Ramsay and her actor husband Rory Kinnear does such a brilliant job with adapting the source material. Speaking of which, the story itself is just brilliantly well written and brilliantly delves into the fears that some mothers do have when it comes to raising their children, and also the idea that those children may be dangerously smarter than their parents, which of course has been a common trope within the special horror subgenre, which generally perceived children themselves as being the monsters, especially with such films like, The Exorcist, Voyage of the Damned, and The Omen being really iconic examples of this idea. Plus, the character development is just amazing. Lynne Ramsay does a terrific job directing this film. The cinematography by Seamus McGarvey is just outstanding. The film is impressively well edited. The performances from everyone involved, including John C. Reilly, among others, are just simply top-notch, with the two standouts being Tilda Swinton giving one of the most memorable performances of her career, for which she should have seriously been nominated for a Best Actress Oscar that year, as the long-suffering mother who is struggling to come to terms with the horrors, with the sort of horrors that her son has committed, and even beforehand struggling to be a really good mother to this otherwise unemotional child. The unemotional child, and how she deals with being a mother, because she never expected to be a mother before Kevin was born, and by then knew, and the other standout is then newcomer Ezra Miller as of course Ava's sociopathic teenage son Kevin, who I just described earlier, and he is quite possibly, in my opinion, one of the best big screen psychopaths that I have ever seen portrayed on film. He is right up there with the likes of Hannibal Lecter, Norman Bates, and especially Heath Ledger's Joker out of The Dark Knight. Yeah. There is only one criticism that I have with this film, and that would be the music that was done by Johnny Greenwood out of Radiohead. I didn't really like the song choices that they made for this film. Not that they were bad, but I just felt that they were just totally out of place, and they really didn't suit the overall tone of the film. If to be quite honest with you, other than that, we need to talk about Kevin. Has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, not only one of the best films of 2011, not only one of Tilda Swinton's best films, but also quite possibly one of the best postmodern horror films that there has ever been in recent years. If you are a fan of horror films, or even of films in general, I would recommend you to go and check this movie out. However, mind you, it is very, very hard to watch at times, so you probably otherwise might not go out of your way and watch this movie more than once or twice. It's sort of the type of movie 12 Years a Slave is, quite basically. And that film is hard to watch as well, but other than that, that one is a brilliant film as well. Anyway, my overall rating for We Need to Talk About Kevin is going to be 9 out of 10. Now, feel free to leave a comment in the section below and let me know your thoughts on this film. Plus, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And until my next video, in which I am going to finally going to start reviewing the first 2 episodes of Sherlock Series 1, starting with the second episode, The Blind Banker. Do take care, everyone, and for yesterday, to all the mums everywhere in the UK, Happy Mother's Day, and goodbye.